All right, this is Obeid on behalf of Electronics, and in this video, we'll be talking about the impact of production on prices and the equilibrium point. Okay, so when I talk about the impact of production, this has to do with an increase or a decrease in production. Okay, so say for example, you have your supply curve over here. Let's say this is S0. We know this is price. We know this is quantity being supplied. And we know as the cost of production goes down, okay, and the factors of production, okay, impact the supply in such a way where the supply goes up, okay, you either have movement along the curve or a shift of the curve. Okay, so if the cost of production goes down, okay, there will be a shift of the curve over here, which means the curve, the supply curve will shift to the right. Okay, as the weather gets better, the supply curve will shift to the right. Okay, apart from that, as the government regulations act in the favor of the supplier, the supply curve will shift to the right. Okay, so on and so forth. Now, apart from that, if the weather is not good or the cost of production, let's say the cost of raw materials and resources go up, the supply curve will shift to the left. All right, and when we talk about supply curve shifting to the left, we also have to deal with something called the equilibrium point. So we know that this is your supply curve, which means that this one over here, this will be your demand curve. Okay, and as you may notice, the equilibrium point is different on each supply curve, assuming this is S2 and this is S1. The equilibrium point corresponds to a different price over here on S1, a different price on S0, and a different price on S2. Okay, so basically what it's saying, what it's telling us that as the supply curve shifts either to the left or right, the equilibrium point will change. When the equilibrium point changes, we know that the price will change as well. Okay, so if the supply curve was shifting to the left, it was to shift to the left because of a factor of production and input of production. Let's say the cost of materials went up, as a result of which the supply curve shifted to the left. Okay, whether this is the cost of crude oil or gasoline, which resulted the supply curve of a finished product to shift to the left, as a result of which what's going to end up happening is, okay, the equilibrium point or the point at which the demand and the supply meet, okay, the point at which the suppliers are able to produce, okay, at a quantity that the consumers would want to buy, okay, this equilibrium point will change. Okay, the reason why it will change is because, okay, the price will be different and the quantity will be different. Okay, so, okay, the quantity will go down if the supply curve was to shift to the left, and the price will go up. Okay, so for the consumers, okay, to have their demand meet the supplier's supply, okay, what's going to end up happening is the suppliers would want to raise their prices, okay, because they're producing less. Okay, if the supply curve shifts to the right, as the suppliers produce more, okay, what's going to end up happening is the suppliers would want to bring down their price to sell it at a price at which the consumers will buy, as a result of which the equilibrium point will change, the price will go down, and the quantity will go up. The quantity supplied will go up. All right, so that's basically it for this video. This is Ubaid on behalf of Electronics. Have yourself a great day.